After 59 years, the face of South Florida TV is about to change. Purchase plans are underway for WTVJ.
Tonight, a look back at Florida's first broadcast station.
So the waiting and speculation are over. The Washington Post company has reached an agreement with NBC Universal to acquire WTVJ.
Yeah, this is the big story of the day. Post Newsweek Stations Incorporated is a Washington Post company and will continue to operate WTVJ as an NBC affiliate.
Alan Frank, President and Chief Executive Officer of Post Newsweek Stations, said, quote, "We are pleased to be able to reach an agreement to purchase such a historic station as WTVJ, the first TV station to broadcast in Florida."
It's a lot of history, and WTVJ is the house built on the legacy of Ralph Rennick. Bob Mayer takes us on a look back at our history.
From all parts of Florida comes the news.
WTVJ was born in March of 1949 as Florida's very first television station. In the beginning, we aired programs from 4 networks: NBC, CBS, ABC, and the old Dumont network. There was no cable or satellite, so all of our network programs were shipped from New York on film and run in Miami sometimes a week later. As we moved into the 50s, WTVJ, then Channel 4, and then a CBS affiliate, was changing fast, growing what would become known as one of the best news departments in the country.
Time left to say good night, and may the good news be yours.
Ralph Rennick ran the news department for the next 36 years. Bob Weaver did the weather for 54 years, and Bernie Rosen, who ran the sports department, is still here, nearly 60 years later. From the beginning, we were known for the quality and depth of our coverage, the stability of our staff, and the ability to grow and change with the times.
Do you think it would be possible for you to soon visit Miami, Dr. Castro?
Rennick took local anchoring to a new level in 1959, traveling first to Cuba to interview dictator Fidel Castro, and then to the Kremlin to interview Soviet Premier Nikita Khrushchev. In the 60s, as we saw the first exodus from Cuba to South Florida, WTVJ was in the forefront again, airing the first ever Spanish newscast with Manolo Reyes. We were there in the 60s as Hurricanes Cleo and Donna, and later Betsy, slammed South Florida. Then more firsts. WTVJ hired its youngest ever reporter, South Florida's first black reporter, the first woman news reporter, and the first woman sports reporter.
It's a little bit heavy, but it's okay.
The 70s brought an end to film and the switch to videotape. WTVJ was first with tape.
We will switch live to the scene now with our Live Eye unit for this report from Bob Mayer.
First, some late word. And in 1975, the first station in Florida to begin airing live field reports. We called it the Live Eye. The 80s brought a new style and more change to WTVJ and to South Florida. The decade was defined by the Mariel boat lift in 1980, the Miami riots in 1981, and for the rest of the decade by cocaine. Drug dealing had become South Florida's biggest industry. Amidst that chaotic background, WTVJ, then a Wametco-owned station, was sold twice. First to the investment firm KKR in 1984, then to NBC in 1988.
227's got a new address, child. Starting next week, join us on Channel 4.
You need to stay in that enclosed...
The early 90s brought Hurricane Andrew and continuing live coverage as South Florida began to rebuild. The mid-90s brought more change as we switched dial positions from 4 to 6. But the WTVJ tradition, now NBC6, continued. As we moved into the new millennium, WTVJ moved from Miami-Dade to Broward and a brand new state-of-the-art facility. We said goodbye to videotape and hello to a new partner and another first. Telemundo 51 joined NBC6 to form the nation's first bilingual duopoly. 2 television stations operating together out of the same building, sharing resources, expanding coverage and community outreach in English and Spanish. Our website, NBC6.net, became a much larger part of our picture, allowing more comprehensive coverage and, for the first time, instant viewer involvement. In 2007, we became the first South Florida station to stream all its newscasts live on the Internet. WTVJ's firsts continue to mount.
This is an amazing facility. It's doing great research.
First with a live undersea broadcast at Aquarius. First with digital. And just months ago, first again, becoming the first and only station in South Florida to broadcast news in high definition.
NBC6, now South Florida's only high-definition local news.
Today, as we face change once again, we do it with pride and passion. Pride in what we've accomplished in the last nearly 60 years, and pride in offering that heritage and that passion to our new owners. Bob Mayer, NBC6.
Great piece, and it's great to see the history of this station. It
Yeah,
really
a lot
is.
of history, a lot of firsts, too.
And again, once again, the big news. A buyer has been announced for the purchase of WTVJ, our station. The Washington Post Company has reached an agreement to acquire this television station.
That's right. The purchase is expected to be completed by the end of 2008, and the acquisition is subject to approval by the Federal Communications Commission.
To read the entire announcement and see a WTVJ history and pictures, log on to NBC6.net and click on Top Story.
Well, still ahead tonight on South Florida Nightly News.
Another crane collapse accident coming up. An investigation is underway after 4 people are killed at a Texas refinery.
Plus, the search is on for the teacher with the right stuff to conduct an underwater mission.
And midnight madness for the Dark Knight. Could the man in the cape and his nutty nemesis bring in big numbers on opening day?
Weather-wise, inland thunderstorms are creeping ever so closer to Metro Broward and Miami-Dade. In some spots, it's a matter of just a couple hundred feet. I'll show you the radar and the weekend forecast coming up next.
You're watching South Florida Nightly News at 7 on NBC6 HD.
And streaming live on NBC6.net. We're back in a moment.